Hello everyone, this is James from Tin Robot Games, and today I'm going to teach you in under 5 minutes how to play tanks, but no thanks. The simplest way to set up the board is to look for the seams. In this case, on the blue side, I have a seam right here. Start by placing a flag on the seam, skip over a square, another flag, we also call these bases, skip over a square, another flag. In front of that, place your barriers, which are octagons. In front of that, you place your tanks. Then place your remaining 2 tanks between your barriers. Lastly, take the 2 remaining octagons and place those in between your neighboring tanks. The bases don't move, the bases don't shoot, they're very vulnerable. The barriers don't move, the barriers don't shoot. Keep that in mind. You're now ready to begin the game. Take the top secret cards, split them into bonus powers and mission cards, give them each a quick shuffle, and deal a bonus power to each player face down, and deal out a mission to each player face down. Take the rest of the cards, place them to the side. You won't need them for the rest of the game. There's 2 ways to win this game. Either be the last battalion standing, eliminate the other players in the game, or achieve your secret mission. There's 2 ways to be eliminated from the game. Either having all your bases destroyed, in which case all your pieces immediately come off the board, or having all your tanks destroyed, in which case all your remaining pieces come off the board. So let's get into the mechanics of the game. On your turn, you have 2 choices. Either you're going to move by rolling the green die, or you're going to shoot by rolling the red die. Let's start by rolling the green die. When you roll the green die, tanks in this game move like a king does in chess. Omnidirectional. You can move to any adjacent square beside your tank. Sideways, front, backwards, diagonally, it doesn't matter. For every number on the die, that's how many squares you can move with your tank. Think of it as a limited amount of fuel you have for your fleet. You can actually split that fuel across your fleet. So if I rolled a 6 in this case, I can move one tank, 1, 2, 3, another one 4, another one 5, say another one 6. I can move in any combination permutation I want, as long as the number of total squares I move equals the amount of fuel in that die I just rolled. The only caveat to this is you cannot transit through an occupied square. So this tank could not move like this. So in this case, if I wanted to get to this square here, I'd have to go 1, 2. In this game, you're maneuvering your tanks to get them into position to take shots at your opponents. In this case, you can either shoot at their base or you can shoot at their tank. So now that's where the shoot die comes in. Say on my turn, I decide I'm going to shoot. Now the rule is you have to have a viable target in order to shoot. You can only take out 1 target at a time. Also, you cannot shoot through any occupied square to get to your target. So in this case, the only place I could shoot would be these 2 tanks that are immediately to my left and right that are 4 squares away from my current tank. So I need to roll a 4 or higher in order to hit those tanks. So your shoot die only works with 1 tank on your turn. So you choose which tank you're going to shoot. In this case, this tank is the one that's going to shoot. You must declare your target so that people don't change their mind after the fact. So in this case, I'm going to shoot at the white tank, and now I roll the die. 1, 2, 3, 4. I rolled a 4 or higher, which is the 6. I can take that tank out. I remove their piece from the board, and I place it in my kill counter like so. Now the kill counter is there for you to keep track of your progress as well as your opponent's. Keep a close eye on what the other people are doing, because certain missions rely on eliminating a certain number of tanks or a certain number of bases or a certain number of colors. So you can usually get a good idea of what somebody's trying to do by keeping track of what kind of bases and tanks they're targeting. Now say I want to shoot my opponent's base. I want to target this particular base. They are 1, 2 away. So I'm going to roll the die. In this case I rolled a 3, 1, 2. I've been able to take their base and destroy their base. Now destroying tanks and destroying bases is as simple as that. You don't have to use a move to rotate your tank, so as long as they are the right number of squares away from your tank, you can take a shot. Just think in your mind, imagine that your turret quickly spins around and shoots that target. Lastly, we've got our top secret cards. On those cards, you got your missions and you got your bonus powers. Your bonus powers are a one-time use only in the game. So once you've used that power is gone. You don't get to use it again. So there you have it. That's how you play tanks, but no thanks. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Once again, this is James from Tin Robot Games. Now another rule in the game is you can't shoot through an occupied square. So let's look at this particular scenario. The enemy tank has come up beside my base. They want to shoot my base. They're one away. That's pretty much an instant kill when they roll. I'm on the other side defending. However, you cannot shoot through occupied squares. I can't shoot through my base to get to that tank. So they pretty much have a clean shot on my base. If I wanted to shoot that tank, I would have to go all the way around to get into position to shoot them. Now another rule is you can only take out one target at a time. Now although they're parked right beside my flag, if they rolled a die and say they rolled a 5 or a 6, they wouldn't destroy all these pieces. They would only be able to take one piece at a time. So strategically I've parked my tank there so I have the opportunity to shoot back when it comes to my turn. And lastly, in the mechanics of this game, keep in mind you can only move or shoot on your turn, and then it goes to the next player. A mistake a lot of people often make is they'll move their tank over and they'll park it beside someone else's tank, thinking, I'm going to shoot them really quickly on my next turn. Not thinking that the player they're about to shoot's turn is going to come before their next turn. Say the white player did this to me. On my turn, they're parked beside my tank. That's an instant kill. You can't roll lower than a 1, so I would take their piece off the board. They've just wasted a tank. Now in some cases you may want to do that. You might want to give up a tank as a strategic move to help you get out of a difficult situation. But try not to just willy-nilly move your tanks up beside other people's tanks, because there's a good chance they're going to take you out. My last piece of advice for this game is don't leave it just up to luck. I see a lot of people do this as a kind of a rookie move when they first play this game. They think it's, there's dice involved, there's lots of luck. I'm just gonna roll the die and hope I take out everybody's tanks. Try to move your tanks into position. Get within, say, 2 or 3 squares of your enemy tank before you try to shoot at them. You're gonna find you're gonna win a lot more games that way. Also, make sure that you're protecting your bases. At the beginning of the game, I often like to get my tanks moved back to protect my bases. This particular move allows me 2 things. 1, protects my base from being shot. The other player has to place himself into danger to even get a fair shot at that base. Likewise, it puts me 3 squares away from their flag, and typically what they're going to do is they're going to want to protect that flag, so it's going to put them into a defensive mode. Familiarize yourself with the powers that are available before you start the game. They'll give you an idea not only of the potential powers you could have, what maybe your opponents have that they're going to use against you. Next, your mission card, which is self-explanatory on the card. If you can't achieve that mission, that's okay. You just have to take the long way around, which is eliminating all of the other players. Now, even if you don't go through and read all of the bonus power cards, I do want to bring your attention to one card specifically, and it's called the Last Stand. The Last Stand card allows you to stay in the game even after all your bases have been destroyed. So you can still keep playing with just your tanks. It's a very powerful card. If you see somebody abandon their tanks at the beginning of the game and really give no thought behind whether you destroy them or not, there's a good chance they may have the Last Stand card.
Resistance to fun is futile.